My next guest takes on Derek Anderson in a 160-pound catchweight fight coming up here at Bellator 188 on December 1st. It is Adam Piccolotti joining me here on the program for the very first time. Adam, how are you?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm glad you can join me here. I know it's 9:30 in the morning where you are right now, so I appreciate you taking the time. And first question for you. I mentioned it off the top there. You are fighting at a catchweight. What was sort of the reason for that? How did this sort of come together?
I think it's more so on his end. I'm totally fine to make 155 anytime, I mean, so long as I have, 5-6 weeks, we're golden. So they kind of proposed the fight to me with that in mind, and, I'm totally fine. Especially more important to me is getting the quick turnaround fight, which is what's happening. So 160, I mean, it's realistically 4 pounds difference. I'm good.
Absolutely. And this is the first time I've had you on the show. How'd you get involved in combat sports?
I grew up wrestling, at least started in 6th grade, and it's something that I always really liked. I was always super competitive. I have an older brother who was, competitive with me as a kid, but he kind of went down a more intellectual path, computer science major and all this and that, which I completely respect and look up to. But I've always been competing with him and with everybody around me. So after wrestling finished, it's kind of like, what do you do after high school wrestling, college wrestling? But then I found jiu-jitsu. And jiu-jitsu just freaking locked me in. I started training all the time. I started competing a bunch. Freaking fell in love. Started boxing at the same time, kickboxing, and it was pretty organic actually. Just one thing kind of led to the next, and it all happened because of a underlying drive to compete, which is who I am.
Yeah, that competitive nature, it never goes away, right? You got to find a way to sort of keep that going, and that's good you were able to find that in mixed martial arts. Now, were you a fan of the sport before you started training in mixed martial arts, or did that come after?
Yeah, sure, I was a fan, but not to like fanboy status.
Right. Fair enough. I know what you mean. There's varying degrees of the fanboy status. I know what you mean.
And I'm still kind of in the middle there. I still don't, I mean, I see pretty much every card, but I'm not like crazy on stats and this and that. But I watched it, and I watched it more so like I'd watch like the old school guys like Matt Hughes and like the old school wrestlers to kind of like see how my wrestling could keep me safe if it was a real situation. More that was like my kind of theory behind watching.
Awesome. Now, are you a full-time fighter, or do you have a job on the side that sort of pays some of those bills for you?
I'm a full-time fighter. I fight for my living, but I also teach. So I guess you could say it's a balance. You know what I mean? I don't make a ton of money teaching, but it's enough to kind of keep me afloat while in between fights, and like this last time, like if I ever run into injuries.
Nice. Yeah, you make it work, as they say, right? And I mean, if you're going to do this, you might as well go all in and, really, it's better than, running from like an office to go to the gym and all that. At least you're at the gym and you're kind of getting to do everything sort of hand in hand, which is awesome. Now, this is new territory for you. You're coming off a loss, which is very rare. You got the 9-1 record. You fought Goiti Yamauchi at Bellator 183. Now that you've had a chance to sort of take a look back at that fight, what do you feel like you learned the most from that one?
You know what? I learned a ton about my training camp. I'm sorry, my dog.
No worries. He's just excited, man. It's we're having a lot of fun here, So.
Yeah. I learned a ton about, of course, about myself, but about preparation. I think I was kind of getting by with a lot of these guys without having to put the extra work in terms of the studying, the game planning, the specific drilling, like these little things that really changes at a high level, And with a guy like Goiti, I first of all, I don't believe that I showed up as myself. I think that there's mental lapse for whatever reason, and the drills weren't done in a way that made it to where I could perform under that mental lapse that happened, right? I need to always try to be at my best, but when I'm not, I need my muscle memory to kick in, and my muscle memory wasn't drilled in the way that should have been.
Okay, fair enough. So what are you kind of doing for this camp that's a bit different, that you're making sure that none of that stuff sort of happens heading into this fight?
Yeah, studying, game planning, taking a little bit more of a calculated approach to the training. You know what I mean? I'm still not going to go into a fight and ever be like, oh, when I throw a jab, he's going to throw a cross, so then I'm going to throw a head kick. You know what I mean? Like, it's never that specific or that kind of orientated, but it is drilling it very specifically to get the muscle memory in place to make it to where if I'm, tired as all hell, or if I'm not really all there mentally for whatever reason, if I got hit, if I'm cut, or if it's just, kind of like a weird off night, I'm still going to perform, and my body's still going to do what it needs to do.
So you're taking on Derek Anderson, who's actually supposed to fight Michael Page at 170, so that's probably, like you said, why this is a catchweight fight. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight? He's got the 14-3 record.
I like it. Derek Anderson, I've always kind of seen him. He's always been kind of side by side. He's, he got started a little before I did, fighting the bigger names and stuff like that. He's had some great fights. He's an exciting fighter. I like that he brings a fight every time. He's not a quitter. You know what I mean? Like, through studying him, I know that kind of his best attribute is his toughness and his perseverance, and he keeps coming even in the last minute of that last round. So I think it's a great matchup. I think skill wise, I can do it. I think I'm more skilled all around, and it's just going to come down to performing and putting it all together. And this camp's been great, so I look forward to that.
Who are some of your main training partners that are helping you get ready for this fight?
I got a handful. My coach, Raul Castillo, he's my training partner and my coach. He's the one I'm doing all my drills with. As far as hard sparring rounds, I'm getting a lot of rounds with Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's my guy right now. He's home getting ready for Edson Barboza, so it's been absolutely perfect for me. I got my other dude, JJ Okanovich. Okay, he fights for Bellator. He's not quite signed yet, but he's right on the brink. I think he's 5-1. Josh Thompson's always been there for me. So the list of people at AKA goes on and on and on. The coaches are huge, though. Between I have Raul, who I mentioned. I'm also working with Hector Fernandez, who's a AKA striking coach. That he's coming. Not too many people know him yet, but they're gonna start to hear about him. He's holding for all the guys, and always with my old coaches too, Kenya Proc. With my striking and stuff like that. So my camp's just been picture perfect in my opinion.
Sounds like it. And the guys you just mentioned there, I mean, that's who wouldn't want training partners like that as well, too. So must give you a lot of confidence heading into every fight, knowing you're training with these high-level guys. So, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the weight cut, because it's 160, a little bit easier, I imagine, getting down to 160. Do you have to change much in your diet or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's like I said, it's 4 pounds, so it's really not that much. Although those last 4 pounds are the worst. I'm just kind of making sure that, if I usually walk in a fight week at 168, this time I'm walking in a fight week around 173. I'm just kind of taking everything up about 4 pounds. And, I had a little bit of time off. I had like a quick 4 weeks where I kind of had an injured shoulder, not injured, but kind of just like a bum shoulder, from that fight. And, in those weeks, my weight ballooned pretty quickly, not being able to even like roll jiu-jitsu or, really do anything like that. So my weight got high, but because I was only there for such a short period of time, the weight cut off really quick. The conditioning came back really quick. So like, honestly, my conditioning and my weight and everything feels like it was a 16-week camp, even though it's been about 4 or 5 weeks. So the weight's not an issue. I feel great, and realistically, it's just a waiting game at this point.
How do you see this fight ending on December 1st?
I'm going to control him on the top. I'm going to for sure get my takedown. I'm going to surprise him with my hands. I know he's rangy. I know he's got some good striking, but, the way I did to Gertz, I'm going to do to Anderson. I think Anderson's a little on the slow side, and I think I'm on the fast side, so I'm going to look to capitalize on that. Eventually put him to the floor. That's what we always do, whether I knock him down or take him down. Look for the submissions or the ground and pound.
You're a full-time fighter. You're a busy guy. What do you like doing on your downtime? You watching Netflix? Are you playing video games? What would I find you doing when you're not training or not competing?
Yeah, I'm pretty much a homebody. So, I'm hanging with my girl. We're walking the dogs. I got 2 pits over here, 2 rescues. We're pretty big. Yeah, I play a lot of video games. I grew up playing video games. My uncle worked for EA.
Oh, no way. I mean? Nice.
Yeah. So it's always been kind of like in the family. Right now I'm playing some Destiny 2, some Metal Gear Solid 5. I've always been a World of Warcraft guy at heart, so I'll go on and off of that for time, different periods of time. Netflix, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. You mentioned playing video games growing up. What were some of the ones you used to play? What were like your go-tos? Because I'm big into the classic gaming. That's my thing.
Oh man, old school games, NFL Blitz, Tony Hawk, Gator, NBA Jam, like all the obviously the EA games, like all the Maddens, all the Tiger Woods, all the FIFAs. Even though I wasn't really a golf or soccer fan, I'd get them for free, so we'd play the hell out of them. I mentioned Metal Gear Solid 5 I'm playing now. I used to play Metal Gear Solid. that was like the OG game I played a ton, you know. Even back before then, we were going GoldenEye, Donkey Kong, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, you're listing off like all my favorite games, so we're definitely speaking the same language. You mentioned your uncle working for there. Was this the EA office in the States or the one in Vancouver? Because I know the head office is actually in Vancouver.
He was man, he's a big deal. You know, I got a ton of respect for him. He was actually one of the main producers on the first Battlefield, on the first. Nice. So he was like flying all over the world. He was in Sweden, Vancouver, you know, doing a bunch of stuff all over the world. Tons of respect for the guy. He's courageous in a way that I never could be. For example, before working for EA, he was working for LucasArts.
Right.
And
okay.
He wanted LucasArts because he saw that the future in video games wasn't quite there for LucasArts. You know, something that not many people would do, even in a field where they know, okay, you know, maybe the video game industry isn't great, but LucasArts is. He was getting paid great, but he was looking for something bigger. Boom, he works for EA. He left EA recently, started his own company, made a startup, got acquired by Yahoo. You know what I mean? He's just a freaking killer in his field. Something I've always looked up to, so it's all over.
Speaking of killers, everyone's got to check out this fight. It's Bellator 188 coming up here December 1st. Adam, it was great getting a chance to catch up with you, man. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, awesome. I appreciate it. Like always, at Adam Piccolotti, okay, nice and basic. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My Facebook is Adam the Bomb Piccolotti. That's about it. You know what I mean? Just follow. I've been really making an effort in the past, I'd say, year or so to kind of give you guys more of an insight into who I am, what I do. I started vlogging before my last fight. I've taken a break ever since, but there's tons of cool content on there. The YouTube page is The Bomb MMA. Tons of cool content on there. I was breaking down techniques. We got vlog episodes up, all that kind of stuff. But big shout out to all my sponsors on it. They've always been there for me. You know, they've always been a solid support. 44 Love is a great local food prep company that's been helping fuel my training camps. And 8 Man Strong is a great up and coming. They started as a powerlifting company, but now they're really branching out into the mixed martial arts. And you know, I appreciate all your guys' support.
Hello, fight fans. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters, including coverage from events with post-fight press conferences and open workout media scrums. And if you like this video, check out this other video to my right.